Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome back to our fireside chat series at St. Michael's for Lent, the Lives of the Saints. And today we get introduced to our first saint, but before we do, because I'm fresh off the Bishop Search and Nomination Committee, let me get ready to tell you about the saints. Our first saint is Tabitha, who is also known as Dorcas. That's the Greek. Tabitha is her name in Aramaic, and yet her name is Dorcas in Greek. Dark, right? Our first saint is Tabitha, who is also known as Dorcas. That's the Greek. And actually, Dorcas shares her saint day with two other saints. It's on January. This week, we get to hear the story of Tabitha, who appears with her companions. Where are her companions? Saint is Tabitha, who is also known as Dorcas. That's the Greek. And actually, Dorcas shares her saint day with two other saints. It's on January 27th is her commemoration, and she shares that day with Lydia and Phoebe. These, of course, were three women that were mentioned in the book of Acts and were companions to Paul. But today we concentrate on Tabitha. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. She has a fascinating life. The story of Tabitha can be found in the book of Acts, as I said, in chapter 9, verses 32 through 46. There it tells us that Tabitha was a disciple of Jesus and devoted to good works and acts of charity. She was generous and kind to the poor and the widows. While Peter was in a nearby town, though, Tabitha died suddenly. So the friends of Tabitha went to get Peter and bring him back to her. When he arrived, Peter was taken to the room where Tabitha lay. He saw all the women crying and showing him things that she had made. Peter instructed them all to go outside, and he went into the room by himself with her, and he prayed, and he turned to the body, and he said, "Tabitha, get up." And she did. She opened her eyes and sat straight up. And then he helped her up and showed her to the others outside. Pretty soon everyone in the town of Joppa knew what Peter had done, and many became believers because Tabitha had been raised from the dead. And of course, we end with that question, wondering how we too can become a saint like Tabitha. Tabitha showed God's love by giving her time and energy to helping others. What could you do this week to help others in need? So that's it for the saints of today. Dark, right? Anyway, the story of Tabitha can be found. Now, while Peter was in a nearby town, Lydia just died suddenly. Shoot, it's not Lydia, it's Tabitha. Really, widows and the poor. What can you do this week to help others in need? And that's a wrap for Lives of the Saints. Bye-bye and bye-byes.